Who are these people in here?
I know who these people are. It's the mighty Hobsons. I see a Hobson and I see a Hobson. You hear them when we do the Hobson and Hobson Newsmaker line. Yes, Chris and Sarah Hobson are kind enough to join us in studio. Remember, you can go to areyoubraveenough.com to schedule a consultation. If things just aren't working in that marriage anymore, things are working wonderfully with you two. Hi, guys. How are you?
Things are going great. Hey, how you doing?
I like that Hoyt and I are sitting closer than you two, though.
We see enough of you.
That's fine. That's a successful marriage. There's a little separation right there. Key to a successful marriage, his and hers closets.
Oh, yes.
Totally agree.
100%.
Totally agree.
And toilets.
Double vanities, separate bathrooms.
Well, if I can afford it,
Oh,
absolutely.
that would be great.
Or shut the door at least, Lisa.
I'm pushing for a urinal, so I don't have to lift it up. You know?
Chris wants the trough like it's back in the days of the 80s.
Just make it easy for me and my little boy,
It
man.
really is.
Well, I don't know if your little boy's like mine. Mine's 8 and still has no idea how to put the toilet seat down. And then I go, Josh, you didn't put the seat down. I didn't do it. I go, you think it was your mom or your sister? Because I'm going to guess they didn't do this one, so.
I'm just glad I can blame someone else. So.
Always. That's the joy of kids.
Yeah, it's great.
Blame them for a lot of things. Okay, so when the Hobsons come in, usually we try to relate stories going on with celebrities and just kind of paint a picture of what happens even to the better side of life with those people. But here we are getting into the holiday time. So we wanted to just make this black and white for everybody listening, because this is a tough time for people who are going through marital problems, because you want the kids to be happy. You want to put it off till after the new year. You want everybody to get along. So here's what we're going to do. Let's cover some nuts and bolts, guys, of some stuff here. For instance, if I asked you what is the difference between divorce and legal separation, people think they know, but it's probably a little more complicated.
Well, it can be complicated. The simple fact is it's a legal separation is the same thing as a divorce. You can do a parenting plan. You can divide all the assets. You can do child support. You can do alimony. You can do everything, but you don't actually get a divorce. So you would be legally separated. And really, the times people do it would be for insurance purposes or simply old age or religious beliefs. So a lot of people don't want to go through a divorce because of their religious beliefs. So they'll legally separate, but then obviously you can't remarry.
Are you, though, is it still the same when it comes to dividing assets? And
Exactly the same.
Okay.
Exactly the same. I mean, you go through everything but the divorce is the easiest way to explain it.
What about taxes? Do I still get to file joint at that point?
Well, I'm not a tax attorney, so I have to preface that, but it's my understanding that you would legally be married, so you would definitely be able to file together.
It's making a plan over here.
Well, and I will preface that by saying if you do file for legal separation, the other side can counterclaim for divorce. So, Hoyt, if you want that, I'm sure Lisa would probably be advised to go ahead and divorce you. So,
listen, I know who would lose more in that divorce, by the way. I think.
Do y'all pick a side, by the way? Like, can I hire Sarah and then Lisa hires you? Is that how that works?
No, we can only represent one side, and we're contractually obligated to Lisa. So, sorry, buddy.
Smartly played, yeah. Sarah and Chris Hobson are in studio with us. So, Sarah, tell me the difference now between the contested and uncontested divorce, because it seems like the path to the easiest road here is uncontested. We get on with it, we move on. But is there more to it?
There definitely is. A lot of people come to us saying, "Oh, it's uncontested." Well, okay. Have you gotten your parenting plan figured out? Have you figured out what you're going to do with the assets, the house? No. I won't. We just. The only thing that's uncontested is that they both agree they need to get divorced. That does not make it an uncontested divorce. So uncontested divorces are a lot cheaper in terms of legal fees, but it's not something you can make happen. And either is or it isn't. Either the parties already agree as to how assets are going to be divided, debt's going to be divided, or they're not.
Normally when a divorce happens, someone's making the first move. One person knows before the other person has any idea. Mm-hmm. Is it a race to honestly get to the divorce first and file first? Is there an advantage to filing first?
I think there's a big advantage, and I talk about this a lot to people that come in and speak with us. It's not so much a race to file. The fact that you want to file first is so that you can be the plaintiff. I'm not saying that every case needs to go in front of the judge, but if you are one of they say 85% of cases settle out of court. If you're one of those 15% that are going to need to go before the court, you want to be the plaintiff because the plaintiff goes first. So when you're telling a story, I mean, when you're litigating, it's a drama. It is a play. You're presenting something to the court. You're trying to persuade the judge or the jury. So you want to tell your story first. You don't want to have to sit back and wait and then poke holes. It's always better to tell your story first. So I highly encourage anyone, if you've already made the decision, just go forward and make the move.
In a very hypothetical situation, if I found out from my spouse that she wants to file for a divorce, and then 20 minutes later I go to the gas station and there's no money in my account, what would your suggestion be then? This is all hypothetical, by the way. It didn't happen to me personally or anything else.
Yeah.
I didn't have to have my friend come pick me up from a gas station because I didn't have any cash in the bank account.
Well, my advice would.
This has all gotten very uncomfortable very quickly. I don't know what's going on here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
It happens all the time, though. It happens
does.
all the time.
Because one person knows they're going to do it and
Yeah.
the other person is blindsided.
Is that
yeah.
true, though? Like, in all honesty, blindsided's one thing. You know you got a miserable marriage in some cases. Somebody just, I didn't see this coming at all. Like, is that really feasible?
No, I mean, I think they just didn't think that the other person was going to do something
Right.
about it. I think,
We'll be miserable together.
Hypothetically, people who are at the gas station and don't have money for gas probably saw some red flags, but they, typically a man will think that it's going to blow over and everything's going to be fine, but it's not the case. And we've had it lots of times. People are in our office, they've done a consultation, they're ready to hire. We go to run their credit card and it is
Cut
locked
off.
out,
Oh,
cut
boy.
out.
I mean, with these tracking devices on phone, a lot of times their spouses will know that they're at our office. I mean, you got to be careful about that. You have to know to turn that stuff off. I mean, so, it's interesting every day.
So let's follow up on that. And Chris and Sarah Hobson are with us again. Hobson and Hobson. Are you brave enough? Braveenough.com is where you want to go. When I say, do you need a reason for divorce? I mean, you're unhappy. There's obviously something going on. Concrete reason, irreconcilable differences. I suspect he cheated, but I don't know. Like, how real and concrete does that have to be?
You don't have to have a reason in Georgia, but there are some legal consequences if you do. For example, if your spouse who's not the breadwinner has been cheating, they are barred from alimony. So if you do have a reason like that, it is something that or even suspicions, it's something you're going to want to discuss with your attorney so that we can hire a private investigator to find out if there's any validity to those concerns, because there's some significant financial consequences for that.
And on a practical notice, too, you want to talk to counsel. Hopefully it's with us, but you definitely want to talk with an attorney before you do that, because putting down fault-based grounds for divorce can have some pretty drastic impact on the process of divorce. When you go in and put that someone's an habitual drug user, they've beat me, they do all these different things in the fault-based grounds, I mean, you're looking at a battle because these are public records, and then, the gloves have come off and here we go. But if you're looking to try to go through this in an amicable fashion, the best way possible, generally we recommend that you don't include those things, and then if we can't reach an agreement, then you include those things later. You can always amend your pleadings up until the time of the final hearing. So talk to counsel, decide whether or not you want to put that in, because it can have some significant impact.
So let's focus on this time right now, Sarah. I've talked to other attorneys who talked about the court system being so backed up due to COVID and what happened a year ago. When it comes to divorce, how long would it typically take, and what's going on right now in the court system?
Takes too darn long. That's what every client feels. It takes too long. There's certainly some significant backlog because of COVID and the pandemic, and the courts have they're now having to get to the criminal jury trials that they have not been getting to now that some of the restrictions have been lifted, and that puts a lot of family law cases on the back burner. We are still able to get court dates. We are still moving our cases along, but that is a great opportunity if someone does want a fast resolution to arbitrate their case, which is also a service that our firm offers. And, we have you can find out all you need to know about that by going to skipthedivorceline.com. But that's certainly a way to kind of get the peach pass of divorces, get the resolution faster. And it really, hopefully it'll allow you to have a better relationship with your soon-to-be ex-spouse.
We're here with Sarah and Chris Hobson from Hobson and Hobson. So, Chris, Sarah was talking about alimony. And when we think alimony, we always think the woman. Mm-hmm. Let's say another hypothetical situation. The woman is the breadwinner. She makes quite a bit of money, and the husband works in radio.
I know these hypotheticals.
Is there a chance that husbands also get alimony nowadays? Because there are husbands that just do stay at home and take care of
Do you want me to find you a hotel right now?
I'm just saying.
Lisa's texting me.
Chris can't say anything else now about it.
I am No, I'm just kidding. Yes, absolutely. We have actually, in our firm, we've gotten a number of men alimony. It's not as easy, obviously, because you're dealing with judges that are generally from
Old.
She's right. I was going to say
old
of
school,
a different
maybe.
generation, but they are older. But yeah, absolutely. If the facts are the facts, then you can. I've gotten a number of men alimony. I've gotten a number of men where the wife had to pay for them to go back to school to re-educate. It's the same thing. It is difficult. So in those situations, what we train our team to do and what I do is to tell the judge to put on blinders. The law is blind, and they have to act like that under these circumstances. And when you put it in that context, context, they're kind of boxed into a corner. And if you make an argument that if this was a woman, there would be alimony, no doubt, then it is. Now, I will tell you, when the breadwinner is the woman and the man is asking for alimony, 99 times out of 100, that case is going to go to trial. So, but it's generally warranted.
Well, you want to keep him in the lifestyle he's accustomed to, so that's what he's getting at. So let me ask you, Sarah, when you said old, you did it with a tone, which I enjoyed talking about judges. Female judge, male judge. Like, is that still a thing? Does that matter when you guys are going into court, how much that could play into the results?
I do feel, it's just a feeling, but I do feel that female judges are a bit more open to treating people fairly, and I feel like female judges will also hold females more accountable. You know, when you have a female on the other side, they're not of the same. They're judge. They've made it. They've broken through glass ceilings. They're not going to sit here and say, "Oh yes, you're going to stay home for another 20 years and not work." I feel like they're more likely to encourage them to move on with their life and better themselves. But yeah, I mean, it is really difficult, especially when you represent a lot of men like we do. It feels like we're constantly going against this really antiquated thought process about how we treat men in families and in divorces, and that's one of our goals, is to disrupt this industry, and part of that is having the judges follow the law regardless of what's in between someone's legs. Like, look at the facts of the case and make your judgments that way.
Well, and who is the most critical on women? Other women. That's just a fact. I mean, we all know that. So the male judges are going to be more sympathetic to the women, where the women judges are going to be looking at the women and saying, you want 10 years of alimony? Go get a job, right? I'm working. I'm raising my kids. So they're tougher on the women. There's no doubt about that.
I love the honesty that you guys bring, and I think if the listeners are hearing how easy it is to talk to Chris and Sarah, it's easy to get in touch with them too. AreYouBraveEnough.com to schedule a consultation. Again, it can be a hard time. It's the happiest time of year, but it's also a time you're trying to kind of get through the holidays if everybody in the house isn't on the same page. So happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there.
If Hoyt needs a place to go on Thursday, will you guys?
He knows where I live.
Okay. All right. Very good.
They see my kids more than I do.
I know.
Jeez. All right.